Who's going to win the X Factor becomes a hot debate in many a household around the UK during the autumn and winter months. But a brief look back over the last 13 years proves that being crowned the show's victor does not necessarily guarantee a glittering career in. Read more. A millionaire among hopefuls as X Factor returns. We recall the series' champions so far to see what kind of success, or disappointment, the 2017 winner can look forward to. Steve Brookstein, 2004. The first winner of the X Factor may have been a lesson hard learned for future contestants on the perils of falling out with Simon Cowell. Brookstein had been labeled a pub singer by Lewis Walsh, and Sharon Osbourne slated him in the final, calling him a fake, overly confident, and an average singer. However, he was championed by Cowell until the South London singer refused to put out a second album of covers and found himself released from his Sony BMG contract just 8 months after winning. Never shy of airing his opinions on the flaws of both the program and its boss, Brookstein has given a series of scathing interviews since they parted company. He told the Daily Mail, "The X Factor is all one big theater, it's turning into the WWF. The X Factor damages your credibility, or perhaps I should say Simon Cowell does." Read more. Judges have high hopes for the X Factor after format shake-up. In another interview with The Guardian, he said, "Imagine a guy runs you over and breaks both your legs. You end up going to hospital and you fall in love with the nurse, and then, for the rest of your life, that guy is saying, 'Hello mate, aren't you pleased I ran you over? How much thanks do I have to give the X Factor for breaking my legs?'" Brookstein wrote a tele-autobiography, Getting Over the X, that lifted the lid on his bizarre reality TV experiences. He has released 3 albums to date, the last in 2014. Shane Ward, 2005. Series 2's Victor had a much less controversial journey through celebrity after releasing his winner's single That's My Goal. Ward has put out 4 albums since his 2005 breakthrough, although his last, in 2015, had to be crowdfunded after he was dropped by Cowell's label Psycho in 2011. The singer is now better known as a Coronation Street regular, where his character Aidan Connor has been at the center of a love triangle storyline with Eva Price, Catherine Tyldesley and Maria Connor Samia Longchambon. He also had success in Elle Theatre, starring as Stacey Jackson Rock of Ages in London's West End, and was a popular contestant on ITV reality contest Dancing on Ice in 2013 during the same series as his now Corrie Echo star Longchambon. Leona Lewis, 2006. The third series of the competition launched the career of one of the biggest superstars it has ever produced. Lewis stunned the judges with her vocal range. Her debut album Spirit topped charts around the world, while single Bleeding Love went to #1 in more than 30 countries. Her 5 albums have sold 20 million worldwide, making her second only to One Direction in terms of X Factor success. She has bagged 2 MOBO Awards, an MTV Europe Music Award, and has been nominated for multiple Brits and Grammys. Lewis starred in Al film Walking on Sunshine in 2014 and made her Broadway debut in 2016, playing Grisabella in a revival of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats. Leon Jackson, 2007. Scottish singer Jackson's success was slightly more subdued than many other winners of the series. His first single, When You Believe, reached #1, but he only ever released 1 album and was swiftly dropped from Cowell's label. Read more. Judges tease Nicole as Alicia replaces her on X Factor panel. Jackson ventured into writing and was said to have written a track for a contestant on The Voice in 2012. The artist was Vince Kidd, who had been part of the band Future Proof, which Jackson had gone up against in the X Factor final. Alexandra Burke, 2008. She may only have released 2 albums, but Burke has managed to be one of the more enduring stars of the X Factor by keeping a varied portfolio. The 2008 winner had hits with Hallelujah, Bad Boys, Start Without You and Broken Heels before branching out from her pop career. Musical theater has proved a natural home for Burke's talents. She took over from Beverly Knight in the West End production of The Bodyguard and then went on to star in Sister Act the musical. We'll have plenty of time to catch up with Burke this autumn when she takes to the BBC Ballroom as one of this year's Strictly Come Dancing celebrity contestants. Joe McEtery, 2009. Championed by fellow Geordie Cheryl, McEtery won the contest but has come off second best to that year's runner-up Ollie Murs in terms of fame. However, McEtery's more modest success is still nothing to be sniffed at. He has released 5 albums and has made something of a career out of winning reality contests. Read more. Cowell, my son has great instincts when it comes to the singer went on to win Pop Star to Opera Star in 2011 and was also the victor of the first series of Perilous Winter Sports Competition The Jump in 2014. His pop star to opera star appearance led to him putting out the album Classic, which included his versions of Time to Say Goodbye and Nessun Dorma. McEtery has also starred in a production of the Andrew Lloyd Webber Al Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. Matt Cardle, 2010. If you're struggling to remember much about 2010's winner, it's probably because he has been overshadowed by the show's most successful act ever, One Direction, even though the boy band finished a distant third in the public vote. Cardle only released one album with Psycho before being dropped as an artist, but has put out 3 more albums since then, most recently Intimate and Live in 2016. He also has a duet with a former Spice Girl to his name, Loving You, which he recorded with Mel C. Little Mix, 2011. As the only winning group in the show's history, Little Mix are already a hit with fans. But their fame is deserved for more than just that, as their 4 albums packed with hit singles have made them one of the most successful pop acts around. They were the first girl group to reach the top 5 in the US album charts with their debut since the Pussycat Dolls, and beat the Spice Girls' record of the highest US chart position from a British female group. Carrie Edwards was regularly in the headlines for her relationship with former One Direction star Zayn Malik, but while the couple broke off their engagement in 2015, she and her bandmates have continued their rise to stardom. Little Mix won a Brit Award this year for British Single of the Year with Shout Out to My Ex, and were named Best UK and Ireland Act at the MTV Europe Music Awards in 2015 and 2016. James Arthur, 2012. When he released his debut single, Impossible, Arthur's career initially looked promising. However, it all went horribly wrong for the Middlesbrough lad shortly after the release of his first album, when he fell out with a rapper who had made a diss track about him. Arthur responded with a track of his own, but the inclusion of a homophobic lyric led to Twitter wars with comedians Frankie Boyle and Matt Lucas, as well as fellow X Factor contestant Lucy Spraggan. iTunes ended up having to offer refunds on Arthur's album to disgruntled customers, and he gave up control of his Twitter account to his management. He also released another track that appeared to promote terrorism and violence, and parted company with Psycho shortly afterwards. Arthur relaunched his career in 2016 and had a #1 hit with comeback single Say You Won't Let Go. Sam Bailey, 2013. Former prison officer Bailey was the first X Factor winner in 3 years to get a Christmas #1, which she managed with a cover of Demi Lovato's Skyscraper. She supported Beyoncé on tour in 2014, but only released one album under Winner's label Psycho before being dropped. Bailey gave birth to her 3rd child in 2014 and made her show mentor Sharon Osbourne godmother. She has since released a 2nd album, toured in a production of Chicago, and performed at Butlins Holiday Inn Resorts. Ben Hey Now, 2014. So far, it looks like the man who beat Fleur East to victory is heading towards the "Sunk Without a Trace" category of X Factor champions. He enjoyed a Christmas #1 with his debut single, Something I Need, and released a duet with Kelly Clarkson, Second-Hand Heart. Read more. BBC announces new Saturday night singing show with audience twist, but after just one album with Psycho, he and the label agreed to split, and his most recent single, Alive, only charted at number 84 earlier this year. Louisa Johnson, 2015. Johnson was X Factor's youngest ever winner at 17 years old, but also has the unenviable title of the lowest chart position for a debut single by a winner. Forever Young charted at number 9, and her other 3 singles released so far have been even less popular, ranging from peak chart positions of 13 to 48. However, she was more successful with Tears, a collaboration with Clean Bandit, which reached number 5 in the UK singles chart. Matt Terry, 2016. As X Factor winners typically spend until close to the start of the next series working on their album, Terry hasn't had much time to make his mark yet. His winner's single was penned by Ed Sheeran, but despite also being a festive track, When Christmas Comes Around failed to make it any higher than number 3 in the charts. Terry recently collaborated with Enrique Iglesias on a re-release of Suba Metal Radio, where he showcased his Spanish skills. X Factor returns on Saturday, September 2nd at 8 p.m. on ITV.